feels so good. Yeah, yeah. You just ought to believe everything like I knew that you would. Like I knew that you would. In my dream, you know I ain't got time. Ain't got time, baby. For another crisis actor with soulless
Yeah, actually, you want to hold on to that for me?
Okay, we're going to get started. This is Chief Crow and the Flat Earth Worms. Auto Hoax. Yes, happy Halloween, says Let's Go. Let me go ahead and start playing a clip here from this morning. This is my own live stream footage. The professional footage is in my Dropbox awaiting editing, but I have much better footage and better audio.
We'll start back here.
This is me at the MAGA rally this morning here in Albuquerque.
Anyone care to opine about what happened on January 15th? Inside job? Hoax? Put a squib on his ear? Did he squeeze a McDonald's ketchup packet on the side of his face? Real or fake? Butler, Pennsylvania.
Now I have a sign, and you'll see pictures of it. I don't know if I posted any here, but I have a sign. One of them says, Trump faked it. And the other one said, 713 was a hoax. And I walked up and down the line. It was insane parking. They totally shut down that side of town. The Uber driver couldn't get me there. So I parked 3 miles away. And the Uber driver wasn't willing to sit in traffic for 2 hours to take me an extra 2 miles. So I went ahead and let him go and I walked it. But yeah, that's definitely, this whole video is an example of this MSM box I'm talking about. Where maybe if they're MSM plus, they're open to a second shooter. Maybe. But when it comes to anything outside of that frame of reference, something being staged or faked, they can't even go there. And their default position was, oh, you must be a Harris voter, for example. Let's go ahead and play a few more seconds here.
Was it a hoax? Was there a second shooter? Biden behind it?
Now they're all saying move on, and they sound like sheep.
Do you have an opinion?
Yes, you guys are...
I'm not on any side.
Yeah.
I'm with Infinite Plane Radio.
You're a perfect example of what America's all about, right?
This guy was basically saying it's all about free speech while he's quivering.
Butler, Pennsylvania, hoax, psyop, or did it really happen with a lone nut shooter? Did Thomas Kurtz work alone?
They seem to be very insecure. I think so. LAC says, I watched you earlier today asking people about the shooting. It was sad to see sheep not even interacting. Well, what I did was, not on this clip, not on this video that I uploaded, but we went to the corner where the shuttles were dropping people off. And every time a shuttle would let people out, I would be there to greet them with the sign. And so, yeah, the best I could do is just try to box me in as a Harris supporter, which I am not taking any kind of political position here, as I've been saying. So let's go ahead and see who's in chat. Armin Ree, LG Rhythms, Let's Go, Ted Stryker, Face the Music. Ryler05 says, what if Kamala wins in a super landslide just to trigger the Trumpers? Yeah, there is talk that that could be the case. They're already pre-calling it rigged. Joined by X322. Lean Dion, NA literalist, says IPS is a left-winger. Yeah, it's funny, huh? It's like they only see it in this binary. They thought I was a democrat, says LAC. Yeah, one guy started ranting about abortions or something. I'm like, what is he talking about? And someone else said it couldn't have been faked, and I said, you'll see. I'll play a few more clips here. Rilo05 says, the people that think the idea of the hoax, yeah, look, they think that it's laughable. They do. They laugh at me. And one person there, she said, I was there. I knew she was lying. I didn't want to call her a liar, but I knew she was lying. Or if she was there, she was so far in the back. But she was selling shirts with, of course, the ketchup on Trump's face. Let's play a few more seconds here.
Was Thomas Matthew Kurtz a patsy, or was it a psyop? Butler, Pennsylvania, hoax or real? Any opinions here? Just a bunch of sheep.
This guy's hiding behind his shirt. He says, here's my opinion. And it's Trump's fight, fight, fight. And it's my sign that's throwing them off, which you can't see it here, but you'll see it in the video. The sign which says, Trump faked it.
Real or fake? Butler, Pennsylvania. Donald Trump is a crisis actor. Donald Trump is a crisis actor.
Wrong rally, sorry. They thought it was funny that I said he was a crisis actor. But yeah, they could laugh, but it sounded more like sheep. And they kind of herded together, and they almost seemed squeamish, like they didn't want to get too close. They didn't want to be put on the spot. I was not impressed by them. If these were lefties, they would have attacked. Lefties are like Walking Dead. I've done this. I went to an Occupy Wall Street protest, or rather an Occupy Wall Street event, and I was like the only protester, and they swarmed me, and I was followed.
Donald Trump rubs fake blood on his face, and you're all marching along like sheep. Yeah, go worship your golden calf.
Now, this was at like 8 in the morning, 7:30, 8 in the morning. The rally didn't start till noon, and I wasn't going to sit there for 4 hours because the Secret Service weren't allowing signs to be taken inside, and there's no way to engage people without a sign. It might have been fun. I have some clips. I think he came out to the Undertaker's theme song again.
713, Butler, Pennsylvania, real, fake, psyop, hoax, any opinions? Did Donald Trump fake it? Is Donald Trump a crisis actor? No opinions.
That one there looked like Laura Loomer.
713, Pennsylvania, did Donald Trump really get shot? Is Donald Trump a crisis actor? Was it fake?
Yeah, very, very weak, very sheep-like. But like I said, after this, I cornered a bunch of them coming out of the shuttles, shuttle by shuttle. I'm wearing my Penguin Party shirt. I was wearing the Penguin Party shirt. It was very cold, but now here's the person who claims that she was there.
Believe that Donald Trump was really shot? I was there, yeah. You were there? Thank you for your opinion.
She kind of bowed up, like I was there. And I wasn't about to trigger her any further. She's selling t-shirts with it, so I'm like, okay, respect the grift. Let's go through a few more of these. A lot of people were being passive-aggressive, like saying, Jesus loves you. I'm like, Trump's a crisis actor. Jesus loves you. I'm like, okay.
Do you believe Trump was really shot, or was it a hoax?
It was real.
Okay. Butler, Pennsylvania, was it real? Did he really get shot, or was it a psyop?
This is strange. If somebody walked up to me and asked me some off-the-wall question, I would stop and answer it. Not that I'm, accosted by crazy people, or people asking crazy things, but in this case, they have a chance here to say, no, you crazy liberal, you're misled by conspiracy theories. But no, they're just like, they walk on. And of course, they have to assume I'm a liberal, so they can't talk to me. It's like, no, I'm actually probably more in line with them than they think in most respects. Like free speech and all that. Armin Reese says they can't afford to get too close. They weren't wearing masks, and auto hoax is contagious. We don't have a warp speed. There's no vax against this. Face and Music says you would have gotten more feedback if you asked if Trump fakes it in bed. Tomonoid 3 says WWE doesn't exist without the audience. David Peck says Normieville can be very exhausting. And Zombie Robot says, sadly, not worth the time and energy. Why stop going? Well, I wasn't going for them. And I said this before. I wasn't going to engage in debate. This is like, if you think about it, you couldn't walk up to a church Sunday morning and try to convert people out of their religion as they're marching in. And that's what we're looking at here. This is, is it idolatry? Kinda.
You saw it on TV. Must have been real. Did Donald Trump really get shot in Butler? Was it a hoax? You saw it on TV, so it was real, right?
He says, were you there? And I said, oh, you saw it on TV. Like, I don't have to be there to call it a hoax. The people with the cameras are required to provide a burden of proof, and they never do.
Did Donald Trump really get shot, or is he a crisis actor? I think it was a hoax.
Yeah, Leo Pirate, good point. They seem more passive than ever. You say libs are feral, but I think you'd find similar behavior. I think that the recent years, if you look at 2020, I think we can make the case that libs are political. Like the people who are looting, dragging people out of cars and burning trash cans, they're not political. They're just taking advantage of the chaos. But I think they're lumped in automatically with big state. But I do think that the left is feral. And I did have a couple of individuals who kind of, nobody agreed with me. Nobody. Literally, nobody agreed with me.
All right. I don't know how much more we're going to get out of it. I think...
So I walked down the line. Again, it was insanely busy traffic. I had to walk miles to get there. And this is the thing. They might have set it up this way. Maybe they wanted it to be on the edge of town where you have to walk 5 miles or take a shuttle to prevent any counter-protesters. And there was a point when I was on the corner conversing with people exiting the shuttle, and one guy was in front of the cops, like ranting and pointing at me, and the cops just looked at me and shrugged. So I think someone was trying to get me arrested.
It's a hoax. There's no scar on his ear. Joe Rogan checked.
Yeah, I thought that might work. There's no scar on his ear. Joe Rogan checked. Tomonoid says he should try to Kamala rally. Well, I was hoping that this is the thing. If this had been at the convention center, where we have the 12-foot tall statue of Walter White and Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad, if it had been there would have been a huge leftist contingent because it's near the university. And I was there in 2016, and there was definitely counter-protesters. There was like La Raza and all these pro-open border groups. But no, I think it was just too much trouble. And you had to be there by 7 a.m. So the people were there from 5 a.m. to 7. There was no way you're going to get the counter-protesters there. And I think this is by design. So I was the only person there offering any kind of a counter. And I'm not even like a Democrat. Arrested on what grounds? Yeah, probably terrorism.
Donald Trump is a crisis actor.
Like meme terrorism. I mean, the left and the right are starting to agree on these types of things. Like, oh, he got the wrong mind virus. He's spreading a mind virus. Well, then put on your earplugs. There's a hot skull coming through.
Donald Trump is a crisis actor. He was not shot. The assassination attempt was a hoax. Does anybody here believe it, or did you all fall for it?
Shut up, you dumb liberal. Yeah. Shut up, you dumb liberal.
Why are you trying to start a fight with a bunch of Republicans?
Why are you trying to start a fight with a bunch of Republicans? And I was not even at all indicating that I was looking for a fight. I was looking for conversation.
Well, I'm not a Democrat. Does anybody here believe Donald Trump was really shot, or do you know it was a psyop? They used a squib. Faker than the moon landing.
Faker than the moon landing. Jessica Lynn says you're lucky you didn't get hurt. It'd be good for ratings, to be honest. It's just a few more minutes here, but most of it is not my footage. I mean, most of what we did today, most of my interactions were not recorded. I hired an outsider, and I'm really glad I did. And it's only possible. It was only possible because of those of you who supported and support this channel, but all the patrons and attendees of the Auto Hoax Cons. I just reinvested into the channel, and I paid a professional videographer, the cinematographer, editor, graphics design. All these things are now available to us. So we have and the next Auto Hoax Con, I will likely have it recorded if I can. If I can get some people to show up here locally, which I think I can. But we now have an official camera person, and we also have access to drones. But the editing is going to be extremely helpful. Okay, let's go ahead and see who else was. Like I said, they were like insecure and sheep-like.
Does anybody believe Donald Trump was really shot? 713 Butler, Pennsylvania, psyop or hoax?
God bless Trump! God bless Trump! Woo!
Okay, a few of them kind of lost it. Do we have Auto Hoax t-shirts? Yes, we got Monster. I'll just walk you through that really quick. Scroll down, and I have two options. One, you can find them on Amazon, or if you click there at the Infinite Plane Society Printful shop, I do have an array of print on demand. Auto Hoax, this is the one that Mick Media does. Seeing Eye, and the Auto Believer in the TV. I'll post a link to it below. So if you want to go ahead and find some merch. I also put some cyborg penguins on shirts and mugs. Water Walking says, going to those rallies looks boring. Those people look sleepy, getting off the buses like they have hangovers. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, was JFK Jr. there? I was hoping to see QAnoners. But this event was not only poorly planned, but he wasn't allowed to go to the first place because they still have an outstander here. I was tear gassed. They threw firecrackers at a horse, broke its ankle. Somebody shot the door of the convention center. But the second one I skipped because it was in Rio Rancho. But this one, it was way out in the middle of nowhere, and they deliberately put it out there so there wouldn't be any opposition. Yeah, Nicotramus, good point. I think you've illustrated why civil war could never take place. The right could never get riled up enough to fight, not even if Obama himself went to the homes to take the guns. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the thing that I'm looking at. Like, you telling me that they're ready for civil war? Like, nah, not at all. Like, they seemed very cowed, to be honest.
Predictive. Donald Trump faked he's a, nobody got shot or died on 713 Butler, Pennsylvania. It was a hoax. Sure. It should bother you. Donald Trump is a crisis actor and pretended to get shot. Did you fall for it, sir?
That's not live on TV, bro.
So,
Did you fall for it, sir? I saw it live on TV, bro. And he laughs. I saw it live on TV. That's why the t-shirt here, or the hoodie, that says Auto Hoaxer, Auto Believer, that's why it has the Auto Believer inside of the TV set. Because their frame of reference is what they saw on the screen. I'm an Auto Believer. I saw it on TV, bro. Therefore it happened. And then you have the Auto Hoaxer with the all-seeing eye, which just symbolizes, if you ask me, one thinks and perceives for one's self. They don't outsource it to government propagandists. Yeah, but this guy literally says it. How many times did I hear this today? I saw it on TV, bro. They say it unironically.
Donald Trump is a crisis actor and pretended to get shot. Did you fall for it, sir?
That's not live on TV, bro.
So it was real, just like the moon landing. You saw it on TV. Did Butler, Pennsylvania, Trump, did he get shot?
Sure did.
Sure did. Very confident.
Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and head out here.
Okay, that was just segment 1. There were other segments that I didn't live stream because I was focused on trying to engage with people exiting the bus. But how many people said that? I saw it on TV. They say it shamelessly. So these are the MSM, mainstream mediated. They probably think wrestling is real. And that's not a slight, because we're looking at this from the perspective of alien anthropologists who are deprogrammed or no longer integrated into their simulation. This was an observation. This was just gathering some information. This was a test. Just studying them. Lean Dion says they outsource everything to their idol Trump, including energy. Yeah, I could see that. Like, they all look like, kind of like, I don't know, slumped over, like zombies. But not the scary zombies, like from The Walking Dead, but no. Entranced. If I had been at, maybe if it was a larger event, I would have found the QAnon types, and they would have said, oh, there was a guy in the water tower that Biden put there, and they paid the Secret Service to stand down. Like, they would have had all of the additional stories in order to make it make sense. But I even cited Joe Rogan, an authoritative source, and I'm like, Joe Rogan checked, there was nothing there. Yeah, exactly. It must have been real because it looks so fake. But imagine if that was your standard of evidence. I saw it on TV, so I'm convinced that it happened. Like, come on. But this is just the first of many such forays into this, what do you want to call it? Into the sim. And that's what we're looking at here. It is a simulation. Yes, reality exists. The physical material realm exists. But our mental map has been modified. And it doesn't quite comport to the real thing. But it does in most respects from your local perspective, so you may not notice. And even if you're paying attention, you'll notice anomalies, but you won't notice the context in which they take place, where the anomalies aren't really anomalies, but it is the standard operating procedure. Yeah, there was tons of security, lots of police, lots of Secret Service, and lots of rules. They had a list of things I couldn't bring in, and that's why I didn't go into the thing, because I didn't want to go in without my sign. Maybe I'll put my sign on eBay if anybody wants it, or I'll hang it up on the wall. No one took it from me. Like, if this was a lefty rally, it would have been spat upon and burned and trampled. So it's kind of good that they're so mild-mannered, but it's also bad if we really needed a civil war, you're not going to get it. A Newful says, Tim, stop lying. We know those are paid actors by you. Yeah, I called crowds on demand. So let's go through some comments. Rem Marek said, my thinking now is, and this is on a video from yesterday, or 2 days ago, it's all a cover-up. We live within a creation. There is no going to outer space. Alex Jones had the moniker Prison Planet for that reason. That's probably why there isn't full disclosure, because once it's known, then cataclysm, and we get a reset. The snow globe gets shaken. Jeff Bezos built a clock inside a mountain to say hello to the next iteration of humanity. So screw it, circumnavigate, invade Antarctica. Let's see if this realm is round. If there's extra territory, maybe an inner Earth. Otherwise, the only thing remaining here is the spirit world. Interesting comments. And yeah, I'm all for it. Flat Earthers go to Antarctica. If it's a ball, it's a ball. What difference does it make? Maybe it's hollow. I mean, have you seen the new King Kong? Godzilla? Algae Rhythm says, shows how effective trauma-based mind control is. They will avoid revisiting what they are conditioned to perceive. Yes. Hypnotized. And I'm an enemy because what? Because I'm trying to break their trance? That's why I don't proselytize. It's like, no, if somebody wants to wake up, they can go ahead and pay me what you would pay a therapist or a Scientologist to pull you out of it. But we're only reaching to those who've already stepped outside the box, who are on this side of the screen, who are on the off-world stage. And I think that these videos I'm going to upload later, I'm not just trolling those people. I'm actually communicating to those who can see it who can see the problem with this sheep-like behavior. They're not thinking, and they're not capable of seeing it because they've been blinded. It's really just, it's for our own research purposes. Here's Trump walking out of his plane to the Undertaker theme song. What is the significance of this? And yesterday he's dressed up in the orange vest, and he's got his orange face paint. So it's Halloween Eve. I mean, the day before Halloween, he's looking like a big pumpkin. And then now he's dressed all in black hat, coming out to the Undertaker. I mean, it's interesting as far as the theme of it, but what is he trying to communicate? The Undertaker. The QAnoners have said for some time that the WWE has a lot of special significance, and they're going wild with this stuff. There are some people who think, maybe it's just me, that the pillow guy, Mike Lindell, is Paul Bearer, the Undertaker's manager. They look the same. No, I didn't wear an ear bandage. When I saw how constrained it was, I mean, I thought everything was just going to be a big party, and then I got the text that said you have to be there before 7 a.m., and you're not going to be able to take an Uber from here to here. You take a shuttle. So I realized, okay, they made it so that you have to take a shuttle or walk. So I opted to walk. I'm surprised I managed to have access that I did before everybody got inside, but I was fully expecting that I wouldn't get any kind of real interactions. And as you saw, these people are being shielded. I think they're kind of insulated. And very insecure, like I said. Nobody got no one wanted to talk. Nobody got even close to a dialogue with me. They were just kind of tails tucked. Unlike their leader here. Now, the people who were coming out of the shuttle were a little more responsive. You'll see. I had to corner them. So as the shuttles pulled up, they all saw my signs, and as they came out, I was able to inform them, basically offer some facts, and they reacted badly. It's like, here's a couple of facts. It's like a cross to Dracula. All right, let's play another interesting clip here. So Tucker Carlson has been talking about, for some time, how aliens are demons. And he knows people in the government who have made deals with them, and the Democrats are working with the demonic aliens. Well, here's Tucker claiming that at 3 a.m., an evil presence attacked him in bed and scratched his back.
Do you think the presence of evil is kickstarting people to wonder about the good?
That's what happened to me.
That's what happened to you?
Oh yeah, I had a direct experience with it.
In the milieu of journalism, or just...
Nope, in my bed at night, and I got attacked while I was asleep with my wife and 4 dogs in the bed and mauled.
So his wife and 4 dogs were in the bed with him, and he woke up getting mauled. There's a scratch on his back. No Occam's razor. I mean, what's more likely, that one of your dogs scratched you or a demon got you? But he went with demon.
Mauled. Physically mauled.
In a spiritual attack by a demon?
Yeah, by a demon.
So there he is shooting a gun. So Tucker Carlson was physically mauled by a demon. And it says, this thing left claw marks on my sides. This is like Art Bell type stuff.
Something unseen that left
Is that right?
claw marks on my sides, on my...
So it left physical marks.
Oh, they're still there. Yeah.
Show us the marks, the physical marks from a demon are on his side. If he were to show me that, I might convert. I might join his religion. This is, I might become MAGA. Like, this is evidence of the supernatural, and you're not going to show us. Like, if I don't know. This is just typical. Like, this is unfortunately too believable by the people who believe in aliens who are demons. Maybe it's because he was speaking out against the alien demons. Is that where he's going with this?
A year and a half ago.
Was your wife terrified? I know you were.
I wasn't. I was totally confused. I woke up and couldn't breathe, and I thought I was going to suffocate, and I walked around outside, and then I walked in, and my wife and dogs had not woken up, and they're very light sleepers.
So his dogs and his wife, they didn't get up. Let's see what else. He goes on to say, I was in boxer shorts. I flipped on the light. I have 4 claw marks on my left side and down my arms.
And I had 4 claw marks on either side underneath my arms and on my left shoulder. And they're bleeding.
And they're bleeding. He's bleeding. This is coming from a documentary called, I think it's called Christianity's X. No, I'll get the name of it. There's a documentary coming up here very soon, and Tucker's in it. I think it's called, Christianites. Okay, continuing. Yeah, abnormal's the new norm, says LG Rhythms. Well, what's the standard of evidence? You know, is there anybody questioning this? And if it's not true, why would he say it? You know, this is insane that this is the type of stuff that goes by unchallenged.
Wait, they were bleeding.
They're bleeding, yeah. No, they're actual claw marks. And I sleep on my side, so I wasn't clawing myself. I don't have long nails. And they didn't fit my hands anyway. But yeah, that happened.
Yeah, this is not AI. This is real. This is from an upcoming documentary. Yeah, that happened. Let's see what else we have here. It goes on. It's a 5-minute clip. But yeah, unequivocally, he was mauled by demons. And here's where he really sells it here.
My arms, and it didn't even make sense. My arms would, anyway, whatever. No one has to believe me. I don't care. But that happened to me. And so I just was like, wow, that's real. Whatever that is, I'm even not sure what it is.
It's very real.
It's very real. And then the presence disappeared. Anyway, he laughs maniacally at one point here, like all good crisis actors do. I posted a link at minds.com. Just thought I'd put it out there. That's where we're at now. Now, this is real. This is real, and this is actually disturbing. So this is Joe Biden, President Biden, biting babies at the Halloween party where Jill is dressed up like a panda. And someone made this connection that, this had eluded me. But now it makes perfect sense. Kronos, Biden. In fact, someone in the chat had mentioned Bezos's 10,000-year clock and Kronos, Saturn. It's all the same, but the clock is a 10,000-year clock in the Sierra Diablo Mountains. And if you look into it, the symbolism, it's all about worshiping Kronos, like the design authority in Megalopolis, the controllers of time and chronology. They write our history. They control time and space this way. The fake news in the aggregate, the fake world stage presentations, the news-bent reality becomes your fake history. And those who control the fake news control the present. Those who control the present control the past and future. So here's Kronos, Biden, Father Time, Saturn, Grim Reaper, vampire symbolism. Now, why is Kronos devouring his child? This is a symbol. I think it's not unique to... like you have the Greek mythology, the Roman Saturn, this idea of this entity associated with Saturn eating the young. It's not new. I've seen other instances of it. And I think it reveals, or it has to do with time consuming life from the moment of birth. It may even have to do with the 12 months of the year being symbolically devoured. But it's very bizarre. And you can find images of Saturn holding a scythe with a child. And then you can compare it, I would compare it to Abraham holding the knife above Isaac atop the hill. I think it's the same image. I think the Abrahamic faiths, it's all based on this entity or this construct Saturn. But I don't know if this is the meaning of it, but if you have a better explanation for Joe Biden's penchant for putting his mouth on children. Like, this is insane. And this is not fake. Well, that's fake. Okay, somebody added some AI effects to it, and it's pretty harsh. But what is going on with that? Biden eats babies. Like, maybe Roseanne Barr's right. Maybe she's not just a crazed wombat. I mean, she was screaming about Hillary Clinton eating babies, and we laughed, but now look. Okay, let's continue. Sounds like an X-Files episode. Frank Murr says conspiracy aesthetics, and a literalist says, I believe that weird creatures do exist. Right. Do you believe in chupacabras and Sasquatch? Serious questions. Because I think it's... I like paranormal. I think it's interesting, entertaining, and yeah, of course, there are things that we haven't discovered yet, sure, but I think it's important not to put things into the realm of possibility preemptively. And so I rule out the supernatural first. You know, I mean, I don't immediately think, oh, I got scratched, it's a demon. When you got 4 dogs in the bed, you could have rolled over. And the dog just kicked. Cubstar says Santa controls the present. Well, you know, that movie Megalopolis is about the design authority, who are very similar to the strangers in Dark City. And they control time, and there are intimations they control history. They're doing a 9/11-like detonation. And they have this Saturnalian celebration, you know, Christmas. And there's some kind of deep connection here, of course, with Saturn and time control. And yeah, Santa is inseparable from that particular holiday, but we're talking really about the personification of the cycle of time. And Saturn has the role of being the visage of death, the Grim Reaper, because it's about the harvest. Deprogram Truther says, yep, all written in the stars and constellations. Good morning from the Netherlands, says Marcel Ploger. Thank you for joining. Okay, Leo Pirate says spiritual false flags. Yeah, I don't know what I make of this stuff. Again, I need evidence to believe that there's actually like adrenochrome harvesting and all of that. However, Biden has always just been kind of like this. This is insane. This is an actual picture. Now, is this just some ham-fisted attempt to appear to be grandfatherly? Even that doesn't make sense. Like, to me, this is a major, he should be in jail. I think he should go to jail for that. Look at this comparison. And Tim and Vic's Instagram posted this. This is Biff and Trump. We are in the Biff Tannen phase. They just aired Back to the Future at the local movie theaters for the 35th anniversary. And then New York Post put Trump on the cover and said Back to the Future. And they endorsed him. Marcel, did Tim succeed at the rally? Oh, I wasn't trying to wake anybody up. You can't. I was illustrating this point. I was illustrating the point that if they're in the MSM box, you can only speak to them from the MSM perspective, the mainstream mediated. If they're truthers, you can only relate to them with MSM plus, and same with wokesters. You have to take into account their perspective, which doesn't change. I was demonstrating for auto hoaxers who haven't joined us yet that there are some of us who can see the programming in plain sight. We just see it, and we are examining it. We are studying it, and we are aggregating on the basis of a parallel media being necessary to quarantine from the compulsory programming and the obligatory adherence to the 24-hour news cycle, reacting to the most current things. Lockstep. And how lockstep were they? Jessica Lynn says, so crazy, Jill dressed as a panda out of all the options. Yeah, there's some pretty wild rumors about what pandas mean, according to the QAnon movement. And I don't know if that's true, but that rumor has proliferated for years. So putting on a panda costume today is in poor taste. It would be like having a party and ordering $60,000 worth of hot dogs. It's going to send off some red flags in certain corners, so it just makes me ask why. As far as the live stream event at the Trump rally, my live streams, I did record about 15 minutes, but later tonight, after I get all the files in my Dropbox, I'm going to edit together the rest of it. And you'll see how it's futile. And it was an exercise in futility. Or it would have been if I was trying to convince people that I'm right and they're wrong, which is not even possible. Now, for some time, and I even put up an axiom for this, I said, Simpsons predictive programming should be treated as fake until proven real. Because there's a lot of people who use the Simpsons predictive programming to say this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and oftentimes they're made up these days. Well, I'm looking here, and Reuters just put out this piece about the shooting. Predictive programming conspiracy theories. Predictive programming is a conspiracy theory often revived in the aftermath of a major news event that suggests that powerful groups provide indications of planned events to the public by embedding predictions in books, TV shows, and movies. Within 1 hour of the assassination attempt, a fabricated screenshot resurfaced of a cartoon with Trump in a casket. This was described as a scene from The Simpsons, but the image has made rounds since 2017, and an executive producer for the show told Reuters that screenshot never appeared on the show. Quote, "It's all too easy to create fake Simpsons predictions for the purpose of misleading people." So out of all the examples of predictive and concurrent programming that we've used, that we've pointed out that lead us to conclude that the Trump head wound thing was inevitable, that had us watching for it, none of them were for The Simpsons. And that's the one that gets the attention. And they're saying it's fake and it's to mislead people. So as you can see, the Metascript analysis is being purposefully saturated with bad information to prevent people from recognizing what the significance is of predictive programming, if they even admit that it exists, which many are in denial about it, or they want to understate its significance. Joined by Pingu33, Josh Lipsock, World Stage. Says WikiLeaks was amazing conspiracy candy for truthers, so obvious in retrospect. From the very beginning, I'd said WikiLeaks is going to adhere to the mainstream media perspective. WikiLeaks is not going to call a fake event fake. They will reinforce the worldview that the media is promoting. That's all they do. It's useful for surface level and for things that aren't out of sorts, as in not everything in the simulation, not every aspect of our mental construct is incongruent with the real thing, but those areas where it is are where we tend to focus. Exactly, Deprogram Truther. The fake Simpsons episode is a straw man they can use to burn down against auto hoax. Exactly. And who watches The Simpsons anymore? I don't know any Simpsons watchers. For something to be considered predictive programming, it has to have an assumed level of saturation. Like, for example, the other night I watched Canary Black on Amazon simply because it was the #1 movie. And it contains a Putin-like bad guy with a digital nuke to black out the world's internet and shut everything down. And this is very consistent with all the EMP stuff, the drill in Atlanta, the cyber hacking drill that's going to go down on Election Day. So the timing of it is highly significant, and it relates to a lot of what we've seen before. And you can be sure that the messaging of a digital nuke has been put out there to the multitudes, as it was the #1 viewed movie over the last few days. Didn't WikiLeaks call out the moon landing as fake and release a video? No, there was some fake footage that was wrongly attributed. So no, WikiLeaks never really leaked anything. If they're not calling out crisis actors and therefore directors of fake news and get into the intricacies and the implications, as in, the fact of a crisis actor doesn't mean, oh, some actor pretended to be a victim. No, we're talking about an entire movie. It's a movie. You got directors, you got writers, you got crew, you have the special effects, you got makeup, the fake blood department, then you have the actors, but then you also have the integration of the PSYOP event with media, with government, law enforcement, first responders, the hospitals, the funeral homes. Like, this is a conspiracy. And that's what we're pointing out here. We're pointing out that there's a massive conspiracy to control, I mean, this isn't hyperbole, to control mankind through a one world religion, a singular monolithic worldview, the new monotheism that's been introduced through media, but it's reinforced by programming through propaganda, and it's global in scope. Like it is the de facto state church. And they all agree that these fake events are real because they all agree that the history that they are writing day by day is the official government approved version that we're all going to live within. It's a fictional universe. Think about like Marvel universe or the Batman universe, where certain conditions exist, certain characters and situations exist, and anything that doesn't comport with it doesn't get in. Well, the mainstream media model of the world that we live in is, in all ways, a fictional universe, like in a literary sense. It doesn't get added in, it doesn't get included or acknowledged if it doesn't meet their rules. If it doesn't, if it contradicts their rules, it doesn't get in. Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd are not getting into Disneyland. The auto hoax perspective will not even reach Trutherville. The closest they got was Alex Jones, and he backed off that one event. And he never said, hey, forget this one shooting, they're all fake. He never said that. He never intimated that this is a widespread psychological operation that both sides are a party to. I wonder why. Exactly, Leo Pirate. The fake events reference each other, further reinforcing their legitimacy. Yet the news media references other events, and the shooters reference each other's, like they copy each other's homework. Like, oh, this person's manifesto is just a reboot of that one. You had Audrey Hale, who's one of my favorite mass shooters right now, who referenced or gave a shout out to Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris from Littleton. I mean, that's quite a callback, because that's a shooting that happened likely before she was born. Exactly. It's a self-reinforcing echo chamber. Diana South says they write the fake news, reference the fake news as proof of reality. So you've got the predictive programming, which is just selling you the story in advance. Not just the visuals, but that's a huge part of it, but the narratives, the opinions are going to form, the archetypes. And then they have concurrent programming where what's on Netflix matches what's happening on the world stage at that moment. But then after the fact, they reinforce it with made-for-TV versions that are realer than the thing they showed you on TV. Lean Dion says, any popular show can not have concurrent programming just by default of the lie world order. Yeah, I'm pretty that's true. That's true. Just like you can be a teleprompter reader at your local news agency, you get a job, you're working in media. Maybe you're not a liar. Maybe you just report the weather. Like the sky's blue today. Like you're telling the truth. But the position that you're in, your perspective is mainstream mediated. Meaning everything you report is going to be in accordance with the mental construct that we have all accepted. And that makes you a liar by default, perhaps unwitting. But everything that makes it to the mainstream, at a minimum, has reinforcement as part of its program. Yeah, and it's all about repetition. Like there's some studies on this. How many times do you have to hear an ad before you make a buying decision? Well, how many times do you see a scenario in the media and entertainment before its real world counterpart happens? Like, for example, how many times did you see Trump, Biff Tannen, the sheriff in that, no, it was the senator in the guy running for the senator in Machete, or Charlie Coker, A Man in Full. And there's a long list. It's a long list going back to 1958 of representations of Donald Trump before he ever stepped onto the world stage in his current form. That's repetition. And then you look at all the children's cartoons where the Twin Towers are being taken down, and movies, Mario Brothers, but then there's children's cartoons. Reverse History has done some great work in AutoHoaxCon 1 and 2 to show this. But recently, and we've been on a roll here since Trump went to Manhattan on 4/4/2023, as far as recognizing how the Batman movies and the Joker movies have had concurrent programming, like undeniable and predictive programming for everything related to Trump and the election. David Pecker says, I can't remember having seen The Simpsons longer than 10 minutes. Very lame show. Yeah, exactly. It is kind of strange. And then there's Bart in a state of perpetual arrested emotional development, forever a 10-year-old. I always thought it was aesthetically ugly. And I didn't like, I guess they're all lovable because they're cartoons and people get attached, but like Homer Simpson is not like an exemplary father. The whole family's just, I always thought it was crude. But it's overrepresented in predictive programming, and I ignore it. I ignore this stuff because obviously this is part of a straw man. So they can say, oh, you think that predictive programming exists? Well, look at this. Got an interesting message on BitChute. This is from Empress. And this was on my video, Prove Me Wrong. Space Station Eyewitnesses Are Fibbing. And tonight I was out on a walk and there was a balloon, a hot air balloon, landed at a park. And I was just kind of hanging out there watching this thing, recording it, live streaming. And I was live streaming the stars. I was like, hey, look, there's Jupiter, there's Venus, there's some stars. So anyone out there who claims that they can't show me a video of the space station because they only have an iPhone 15, sorry, not an excuse. So here's what he said, or Emperor said, I agree with you. The satellite's views are actually fed into a program that is used by Google Earth, Zillow, and more. The actual footage is gained by 1, Google planes that fly overhead and capture every piece of land from the sky, and 2, street views are obtained by camera-mounted vehicles that we see occasionally driving through our neighborhoods. In other words, there are no satellites. I listened to a phone interview of a man that worked his way up the ladder in a company that sold investments in satellites. He was shocked to discover they did not actually exist. Now, generally, when somebody tells me I know somebody who knows somebody, I'm like, I can't take that information. But I'll accept this one. I'll accept that this person may have talked to somebody who went kind of far up in the business and learned that it was all a fib, all a hoax. Wouldn't shock me if that were true. Okay, let's see. Lynn Ertel posted here on my post. Okay, this is from the 27th. Here's a detailed explanation on the origins of the Venezuelan gang takeover story from Aurora. The landlord started it for business reasons. Yeah, that was fake. But notice this. Even though the story about Venezuelan gangs taking turf from the Bloods and the Crips in Aurora and the Hells Angels were coming from California to save them, even though that story's been debunked, that the motorcycle gangs weren't gangs, but it was just motorcycle aficionados going to a rally in Durango. They weren't even going to Aurora. So this Venezuelan gang thing's a hoax. But Rogan is talking to Trump, and he just brings it up. Like, you know, these Venezuelan gangs taking over, taking jobs from American gangs. And Trump's like, yeah, it's terrible. I'm thinking, wait a minute here. Like, they didn't get the memo that it was fake. And there's a lot of that. It's carelessness. It's just this careless disregard for any kind of vetting of the information they get if they like it. "26 likes, 121 watching." You know, our numbers have been going up. And I expect we'll get a decent amount of traffic. I'm sure everyone's out trick-or-treating or something. It's a holiday. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of traffic on the videos I'm going to upload tomorrow. Maybe tonight. World Stage says, "Truthers say you can't trust the TV, but they retweet every fake video on social media without scrutiny." Yeah, and they make stuff up. They're not accountable. Too many of these accounts on X are anonymous, and I'm done with that. One of the reasons why I decided it's important to be an above-ground organization, and the IPR press pass carriers number in the hundreds, is that we need to be able to separate. We have our ideological and intellectual quarantine from the mainstream mediated box, but we also need to be real. Like, I am real. I will go harass MAGAs and Antifas if I need to. Like, we're not just internet bots, and I can prove it. Deprogram Truther says, what was his name? Math? Did he work for NASA? Oh yeah, there's this painter who claims he invented flat Earth or owns it or something, and now he actually sells mud. He sells the earth now. You can buy flat earth from that guy. I think it's power clay. I'm not super critical of it. I haven't used it, so I can't say. But apparently you can brush your teeth with it, and it makes you look younger. Better than any filters, supposedly. So if you want to check it out, look it up. I think it's called power clay. But he's selling the flat earth bag by bag. Diana South says, leg CPR hoaxiversary. Yeah, Halloween. It was in South Korea. There was some concert and a mass trampling. And the video was a whole lot of people doing chest compressions on a bunch of dummies. And one of the, I mean, it was obviously a drill presented as real. One of the participants didn't have a dummy. He didn't have a partner. So he's doing chest compressions on a dummy's leg, while somebody else is doing compressions on the heart. And I believe the background song was Staying Alive. Let's look at this Halloween trampling story, since it's a hoaxiversary. Was that 2 years ago? Okay, Seoul Halloween crowd crush. 67 people were crushed to death. It says 153. 153 people killed, 103 injured in a crowd surge. Now, hopefully I can find the video where they're doing like mass chest compressions all at once, synchronized, and one person was compressing a thigh vigorously.
A crowd of mostly young people celebrating Halloween were trapped and crushed as people surged into a narrow alley in Seoul. At least 149 people were killed, another 150 hurt. Tens of thousands of people were celebrating at that large outdoor event. Investigators say many of the victims either suffocated or went into cardiac arrest. It is the worst disaster in South Korea in years.
All right. Ryler05 says the beat of Staying Alive is actually the rhythm of chest compressions. Well, if somebody finds a clip, in fact, I think I might have one here. Woman captures chaos. I want to see if I want to find the leg compressor. What's up, Tunex? How was the rally? I'll upload the video tomorrow. It was exactly as I thought it would be. Bunch of sheep. Nobody wanted to talk to me. They're not ready for civil war. So that's an indicator. No one's ready for civil war. Like, they can barely stand a meme. I mean, my sign just said Trump faked it. Okay, let me play a short clip here.
Halloween festivities in Seoul, South Korea turned deadly Saturday evening. An estimated 100,000 people had gathered for the country's biggest Halloween celebration since the coronavirus pandemic began nearly 3 years ago. The crowd had gathered in an area filled with bars along narrow alleys off the main street. According to witnesses, people became trapped and crushed as the crowd pushed into those narrow alleys. American Janelle Story has been living in Seoul since 2016. She was
No, I remember there were a bunch of stories after the lockdowns where it seemed like the whole intent was to make us want to go back home. Like, oh, the world's extremely dangerous.
Saw in front of me this mass of people like running and pushing and like moving fast and screaming, and
Cool story, bro.
we're so shocked.
I'm trying to find the leg compressions. Classic bit. I think I just saw Beetlejuice. And nothing about it looked real. It's just one of these events. Eminently forgettable. But anyway, happy hoaxiversary, Soul. Okay, continuing. Let's see what's going on in the comments section. Yeah, like the Travis Scott concert. Same thing. Travis Scott auto-tuned people to death. Like a bunch of them just started getting crushed in the front or something. And okay, now here's something about that event. And maybe I can pull up some of my old blogs on this one. Travis Scott. No, I won't have it right now. But if you recall the Astro World event, there was a couple of anomalies here. One, the number of people who were there was the exact same number of people that were at the rock slide event, where an identical number of victims got crushed. And in his video Escape, Travis Scott was wearing a shirt that referenced the Rock Slide Festival. And I think it was a Red Hot Chili Peppers shirt or something. But anyway, or was it Pearl Jam or something? But anyway, the Rock Slide Festival and Astro World had an identical number of people crushed. Okay, so here we go. I want to find the number of crushed. Is the Rock Slide Festival tragedy. 9 people died while Pearl Jam was playing. Yeah, that's the one. This was a tragedy that Pearl Jam still to this day grieves. So you had 9 people crushed at Astroworld, 9 people crushed at Rock Slide, and the same number of attendees. And again, Travis Scott wore a shirt on his video for Escape that I think came out after the fact. But it certainly was a reference to Rock Slide. And it was only for one frame. Like, I remember I was trying to get that still shot, and it was only one frame, like super subtle reference. Let's see, Plain Decoded, was it a Boomer Fest? I don't know what Boomer means. You know, I don't even know what the people say Gen X and Boomer and Gen Z. I'm like, what are you talking about? I can't really think of people in those terms. But as far as like the demographics, I would say it was mostly people probably close to Trump's age in the garb, like the MAGA hats. But there were a lot of younger people there as well, wearing orange vests. Eccentric View says, I need to tune into your live streams for some sanity. The world is mad. Oh, the world's in a trance. And what we're doing is we're elucidating the box. Like, people don't know that they're in a model. They don't know they're in a simulation. That their mental model is, I would say, distorted. And it's because of the fact that most of our lived experience these days is filtered through the screen, which people treat as a window. Oh, here's a window. I can see things in the distance. I can know what's going on around the world. I'm informed. It's like, no, you're not informed. You're conformed to a world view. Tomino, says, Travis Scott officially announces a new single, The Plan, for Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Interesting. And the tenant was connected to the Crocus shooting. Plain Decoded says it was Pearl Jam, and then a year later to the day that Astros won the World Series on the anniversary. LG says, Auto Hoax World Tour coming up. Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up, because I've been saying for some time the objective was Auto Hoax Con, local cinematographer, and use every one of these to create, over time, a documentary, which we'll call The Auto Hoaxer. So now we have someone to do the documentary, as far as the recording, the audio, the interviews, and we've just started our Dropbox. So today, we have a lot of B-roll and footage to use, and I want to combine that with Auto Hoax Con, and perhaps my interview with McMedia, the city council thing, but anything that we do that is related to this is going to go into this documentary. And I wanted to treat Auto Hoax Con as a book tour. Like, I have an office space here, I have a headquarters here, but eventually, when I have the funding, I will go to likely Denver, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and wherever else, but I think it's an important step. World Stage says they also have collective amnesia. One current thing can contradict the other, but it doesn't matter. Yes. And the other point of it, too, is that even if you see something for what it is, like a lot of people say, hey, this Trump head wound thing was fake. It was staged. Yeah, they're right. But then they're wrong because they see the bloody guardrail. They say, wait, but somebody died. So Trump faked it and somebody died. He's a murderer trying to score political points. Or they can't really reconcile this. The cognitive dissonance just kind of makes the fact of it being staged not something they can process. But auto-hoaxing is really just another way of saying applied skepticism directed at media at large, not looking at media as simply partisan political news, but news as one facet of a monolithic worldview shaping mechanism that includes entertainment in all media. And we have many examples of this. We have so many examples of concerted messaging, which, if you're to the unenlightened, you're saying these are just eerie coincidences. How many times have we noted the media noticing these patterns and they write it off as, oh, reality and fiction just colliding? It's a coincidence. It's an eerie coincidence. But no, they don't have the right perspective to make it make sense. What do we have here? Atlanta police believe at least 3 weapons are fired from the suspect's balcony on the 33rd floor. 1 Atlanta police officer was injured. Midtown Four Seasons Hotel. Posted by Lean Dion. There was something else with another, I think it was a 33-year-old named America. No, it was America Falls, and a 33-year-old fell. And I'm sure this is 100% real, because I don't think that the space agencies would ever lie to us, and everything we see from space is we should just consider it to be objective, right? So here we are on Halloween, and a supernova exploded. A zombie star exploded today. New view of H5N1. So this is an artist's concept. Oh, it's called PA30. This is Today in Science. PA30. It looks like a virus. It looks like a COVID. But this is a zombie star on Halloween. And it was a few Halloweens ago. There was the skull-shaped asteroid. Skull asteroid. Oh, look, actually, I put a search in here. I showed up number 1 on my Society 6 account. Skull asteroid with Astro Blunt. Infinite Plane Society canvas print. So this is a skull asteroid that was there for Halloween. And the blunt is actually Oumuamua, the first extra solar system object to arrive and orbit the sun, and some believe it's some kind of a craft. But I put these together and I put them on a canvas In fact, if you want to order a copy of it, I'll put a link below. Skull Asteroid with Astro Blunt. Yeah, Mango says, did you hear about the 33-year-old mother jumping off Niagara with her 2 children? Yeah, that's the story. That's the one. I have a message about that in Gilded. Let's take a look. Okay, here we go. And yeah, the MAGAs in garbage bags. What a psyop that is. I'm sure it's organic. Okay, here we go. Posted by Synchromorpheus. Mother plunges from Niagara Falls with child and baby. The woman, identified as a 33-year-old, went over the guardrail with her son Roman. The incident took place on Lunar Island, the small island between America Falls and Bridal Veil Falls. Wow. What do we have here? His take on it, Fall of the West, just like Rome. And, you know, that's a good point there. Megalopolis had Make Rome Great Again. And Francis Ford Coppola, the director, said it's going to happen in a few months. That America is Rome. So Fall of the West, just like Rome, connects to Megalopolis. Other esoteric references, Luna and Mecca. And if you didn't know, this picture of Musk jumping behind Trump with his hands up, that picture was taken by the same individual, Doug Mills, who photographed the bullet whizzing by Trump's ear, who also photographed George W. Bush on 9/11/2001 when they whispered 9/11 into his ear. Interesting collection of iconic photos. So this was posted by They Are Already Here. And he said, was Kubrick chosen to carry out the wishes of the others, or was he placing clues? Was he placing clues in his movies to tip off the masses? Or was he a manufactured character? So he's asking, did Kubrick even exist? And was he dropping us clues? My answer was, the trouble with this take is that Kubrick is just one of many directors whose work contains predictive programming. And they're not tipping off audiences. They are programming them for future fake news. So Stanley Kubrick gets a lot of attention. There are some people who focus on him almost exclusively, and they kind of mystify the guy and suggest that he's a construct, or it's like, no, he exists. And he's not the only person who served in this capacity. He's one of the top tier metascriptors, but you can't separate Kubrick from James Cameron, Tom Clancy, and a host of others. More recently, I'd say Jordan Peele is a metascriptor of note. So no, you can't use Kubrick as some kind of a whistleblower. No, he's not a whistleblower. All of his movies contain predictive programming for things that happened even after he died. I think he was probably alive for his magnum opus for 9/11, but his fingerprints are all over 2020. And they're all over Trump getting shot on the right side of his... all of that. That's all Kubrick. Dave says, read somewhere Elon is autistic. No, the Elon worshippers on 4chan believe that autism is some kind of like superpower, and they claim to be, quote, autists. And they claim that their autism allows them to decode Q drops. So, no, it's just garbage. And then they're anti-vax because they say it causes autism. I'm like, well, isn't that what you guys want? Like, you think they'd be the most pro-vax? Like the 4chaners, like, oh, I want to be able to decode this stuff, and they just inject. And a literalist says, I believe there's some things weird going on in the real world that do not exist on TV screens, books, and hearsay. I believe you that you believe it. But the difference is, do you know it? That's the main distinction. Now, if you're saying that there are known unknowns, I agree with you. I think we can include, yeah, there are things we don't know. But when you encounter some phenomenon, your go-to explanation should only come from the knowns. And until you've ruled those out, you cannot rule in the unknowns. Like, case in point, Tucker Carlson, was he scratched by a demon, an alien, or his dog? He's like, no, it was definitely a demon. Okay, well, how do you know it wasn't an alien? How do you know it wasn't Bigfoot? You don't. But why would you rule out the clawed animals? There's 12 claws. There's 12 paws in his bed. No, how many? 4 dogs? That's a lot of dog feet. It's a lot of claws. And you're in bed with 4 dogs and your wife? Like, how do you all fit? Like, it's highly likely that he rolled over on a dog and it scratched him. Jessica Lynn says Stanley Kubrick died 666 days before 2001. Yes, and his death is alluded to in the movie Eyes Wide Shut. There's a reference I was looking at. There's some indications that his death was a hoax. Yeah, 4 dogs. I don't care if people want to sleep with their animals, but I'm just saying, if you have a bunch of dogs in your bed and you wake up with claw marks and then you say a demon did it, show me. Show me how you know it's a demon. Like, I want to see the claw marks. And he's like, yeah, I still got the scars. Now, is he lying? You know, if he said it was an alien, you'd call him a kook. But he say demon, and his audiences will just think it was real. I mean, remember Steve Bannon, who just got out of jail, was doing a Zoom prayer session for patriots to pray to stop demons from entering through the eclipse. So that's where they're at. Okay, moving on. This individual is not an auto hoaxer, but this person is clearly thinking for themselves. I guess I would call this person an auto hoaxer in most respects, but they're sort of disengaged, so they're not totally into it. But this person, I would say, is mind war inoculated. He exhibits a great deal of I don't give a about the current thing. I don't know his name. He looks like Andrew Tate light, but listen to this guy.
Kamala.
Neither. It's all fake, bro. We're all actors, man. It's all production. It's a big production. I was a big Trump guy, right? Like what he stands for and all that stuff, but it's all BS, man. It's all big production. Everybody on that stage is a part of the production. You cannot walk onto a set. Like if you go to a play, I can't just walk into a play and walk on stage and be a part of it, right? You got to.
Yeah, you can't just be a part of it because you're not one of the crew or the cast. You're not a star. You're not part of the prefabricated history, which we look at as fake news. Like, again, when we see fake news, it's easy to say, oh, it's just some liars putting out propaganda, but no, it's deeper than that. It's fake history. It's fake history because it doesn't get challenged.
To be a part of the cast. But a lot of these guys are just puppets. Like all these people, like Kamala Harris, she's nobody, man.
Okay, now let's see where else he goes. For the most part, he makes a lot of sense. He says people pay too much attention to celebrities.
Look up to, they're nobodies. Celebrities especially, they're all nobodies, man. They're all phonies. They're all fake. Bought, paid for. You see what's going on with Diddy and all this stuff. Like, this is how this industry works. It's not about the talent. It's not about the best singer. Beyonce, there's millions of women on earth that can sing better than Beyonce.
Okay, so he goes on for a minute here, and he even says he started to agree with Andrew Tate, but Andrew Tate's not even in on it. But then here's where it gets interesting. So this individual who looks like Andrew Tate says that Andrew Tate's not human. This is where he kind of lost me, but I kind of like where he went. It's kind of strange. He suggests that you can tell who the aliens are by their skulls, and this would include Kobe Bryant, Andrew Tate, and Tupac Shakur. And I think it would include himself, honestly, because he looks like all the above. But listen to what he says about the skulls.
Some things, but he's in on it too. He's not even a human, and you can tell by his skull. He's got a smushed in skull. I'll show you later on a picture. But yeah, a lot of these people, the people that run the world, they're not even human beings. That's the big secret they don't want anybody knowing.
What is Andrew Tate if he's not a human?
Could be reptilian, I don't know. I just know with the skull, it's not a human skull. It's similar to Kobe Bryant's skull and a bunch of these other guys. They have the skull. They also have a tube neck, like Matthew McConaughey's got.
A tube neck. So I've never looked at Matthew McConaughey's neck.
The tube neck. He doesn't have like a normal neck. So these are things to pay attention to. They're pretty advanced, but yeah.
Okay, I want to look at this pretty advanced tube neck. And that guy was describing his own skull when he referenced these others. He looks like Andrew Tate. You see that? Oh, Dave Peck knows this person. He's on Instagram. Well, he knows what he's talking about for the most part. Maybe he knows something we don't know. So who was the individual who was saying that maybe there are some things out there that exist that we don't know about? Here we go. Mango penguins are kept in the dark about many things. No, that's not the one. And a literalist. There are some weird things going on that do not exist in TV screens and books and hearsay. Well, there you have it. Lord Laney says, Archon conehead-looking aliens. Okay, moving on. Mike Rothschild, we'll skip that. The true purpose of fake news. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. It's time control through manufactured history. Yesterday's fake news is called history. The conquerors write history and always have. And here's a quote that is especially pertinent to today as I was talking to the unreachables. It's easier to fool people than convince them they have been fooled. I like people who've already confronted the possibility that they've been lied to bigly, like with NASA, etc., because they've admitted to themselves, I've been fooled. What else are they lying about? What else have I been deceived by? They've already passed that barrier. Like if you can question the blue marble, then you can admit that I have been tricked or I am trickable. I've taken a leap of faith. Maybe I don't know this. Maybe I merely believe it. And from that perspective, having that realization, that big of a paradigm shock, it's not difficult to see all these other little lies. And that's why I think it's kind of useful, because it's so difficult to get people who are in the MSM box to really give any kind of credence to anything we say, because, of course, they have the right answers because they trust their sources. I guess this counts as predictive programming. This is from decades ago. This is Oscar the Grouch in a garbage can. And he's talking to some other garbage gremlin called Ronald Grump.
Grump's the name, Ronald Grump. Yeah, I've heard of you. Why, you're the Grouch who built a swamp in a day.
I'll do something for you, and you do something for me.
Okay.
Oscar, listen, I wouldn't do this if I were...
Again, this is from 777 to 666. We have Trump predictive programming in Sesame Street. Tycoon billionaire Ronald Grump is a parody of Donald Trump, played by Joe Pesci, who wants to demolish Sesame Street and build Grump Tower. And it's up to Sesame Street citizens to save their favorite buildings from being destroyed. And then here is Ronald Grump with his evil plan. So what is this? Why does this particular real estate tycoon get all the attention? Got this real estate mogul who's in the children's shows. Obviously, it's predictive programming. And then here's Grump Tower built out of garbage cans. I expect this is why this showed up. The garbage coming out today. Somebody must have come across this trove of Trump predictive programming. But again, you were taught to hate this guy when you were a kid if you watched these shows. This is Joe Pesci as Donald Grump. If there's one thing I despise, it's cheap sentiment, kids' television, and furry animals. He abandons his plants when he realizes Oscar's trash can is on city property, and Oscar refuses to move, saving Sesame Street. After the Twin Towers went down, after they melted because the chemtrail fluid in the planes burned so hot, Trump was on a committee and they were discussing the replacement. And he had proposed the World Trade Center Phoenix. They didn't go with that, but that was the original title. Looks like someone arrived here with a... Here we go. It looks like LG Rhythms with a Halloween sack full of blue wrenches. Symbia, Emmy Lou, Joe Mama, RJ, Yogtavius Prime, K-Swan, Lickety Split, Farfig Newton, Busy, Art Bell, SL3RR, Haley Harmon, Phil LeBlanc, Benton, Glenn Bush, Baja Pickleball, Jay Nelson, Harks, R. Cook have all received blue wrenches. And what I'm going to do is, after I upload the footage from the Trump rally tonight, I'll make it available for our members, so you will be able to comment first, and I'll read your comments tomorrow morning. And I'm just waiting for the rest of those to arrive by a Dropbox. They're being uploaded right now. So we have a cinematographer, editor. Basically, we are now prepared to, I think, put into production a lot of the documentaries that were kind of held back. But we did this for a couple of reasons. I went to the Trump rally because we need to separate what we're doing from controlled opposition, from alt media, and I think also to demonstrate just how futile it is to try to communicate from the off-world stage perspective to the MSM, the mainstream mediated worldview. You just can't. There's too large of a chasm there. You can reach the MSM plus, but only partly. Most of them are kind of locked into those orthodoxies, especially if they're voters. But the ones who are 1 foot out, 1 foot in, those are the ones who I believe are eminently reachable. And we'll take what we can first, as long as they meet the standards, as long as they're media skeptics and are interested in finding out how they've been lied to and are actively seeking to replace false explanations with answers. And after that, after we've gone through and raised Trutherville, then we'll try to make some forays into Normieville. But I'm in no way interested in regurgitating mainstream media or alternative media whatsoever. That's not our purpose. Okay, so we talked about Kronos Biden eating babies, Tucker Carlson scarred by a demon in his sleep. Satellites don't exist. Predictive programming is not only real, but there's an active measure to drown it out with fake predictive programming. So if it's got Simpsons on it, it's probably fake. 33-year-olds causing trouble. People on floor 33 causing trouble. And we went through my initial walkthrough at the Trump rally today. There's an active operation going on of various ballot drop boxes burning. So they're sowing the seeds right now as we speak for some kind of contention when it comes to the results. So it's going to get more fun and more interesting as we go. And of course, we'll be here to cover it, boots on the ground, as well as here in cyberspace. The next Auto Hoax Con, that'll be number 3, a fakeologist will be attending. And I'm pretty sure maybe this time we'll get Armin Ree live. But at the same time, I'm going to try to get locals to show up so I can have some more footage for the upcoming documentary. Marcel says, didn't his woman just scratch him? It was a demon, he said. Which means alien, doesn't it? Because he said aliens are demons and they work with the government. So how can there be demonic aliens? Do you see my reasoning here? How can it be that aliens are demons and then a demon scratched him? So would it not be accurate for Tucker to say that the alien did him, the alien woke him up and scratched him up? That should be his claim, because aliens and demons are now synonymous. So if you missed that, I'll play a short clip of it here. This is Tucker talking about how the aliens scratched him up in his bed and managed to not wake up his wife.
4 claw marks on either side underneath my arms and on my left shoulder. And they're bleeding.
Wait, they were bleeding?
They're bleeding, yeah. No, they're actual claw marks. And I sleep on my side, so I wasn't clawing myself. I don't have long nails.
Laughing. So funny, right? Getting clawed by a demon at 3 a.m. It's hilarious.
Well, I wasn't clawing myself. I don't have long nails.
And this guy here with no bullshit detector, working on this new documentary. Richard Spencer says, Tucker's cynically lying to appeal to his deranged audience. I don't believe he actually believes this. Same with me. I don't believe he really believes it. And I think it's good to call that out. When somebody says they believe something, and you know they can't possibly believe it, like that anonymous channel who believes that JFK is wearing a Trump suit, that we've been looking at JFK the whole time. Like, no, he can't possibly believe that. He can't. To me, that's a disinformation operative, cognitive dissonance operative, just sowing confusion. But I'm just saying, no, I'm auto-hoaxing his belief. He doesn't believe it. I'm skeptical that he can even believe that. He can claim he does, but he's lying. Not Shock says, was Tucker also probed? Right, exactly. Tedros from the WHO says, it's time to be more aggressive in pushing back on the anti-vaxxers. They're creating havoc.
2030. But you know the serious challenge that's posed by anti-vaxxers, and I think we need to strategize to really push back, because vaccines work, vaccines affect adults, and we have...
Now the point of this is simply they're getting ready to do the internet lockdown because of mind viruses, disease X. That's the whole point of this. And they've used the controlled opposition truth movement to create a widespread agreement that we need to go ahead and start locking down the internet, quarantining it, and getting rid of mind viruses, because a huge swath of the population has mind AIDS, no mental immune system, and they need to be protected from the asymptomatic mind virus super spreaders, the influencers. And that's why they use that term, influencer, influenza, mind flu. Thank you, Algorithm says, good to go, great stream, Tim. Wonderful display of courage at the rally. I almost felt like I was punching down. I felt bad. A lot of these MAGAs all tucked tail. And you'll see tomorrow. Or maybe later tonight, you'll see the videos tomorrow of the rally today here in Albuquerque. Okay, let's see what else. Elon Musk is going to take us to Mars, and so Buzz Aldrin has endorsed Trump because Trump is BFFs with Musk now. Space fakers unite. Okay, well, this has been great. This is a tattoo. I hope it's fake. I'd hoped it was fake, but I'm starting to think it's not fake. But she has the mark of the beast on her forehead.
It needs to be appreciated. So my name is Ray Monroe. Obviously, people are asking why I got this tattoo. At the end of the day, I absolutely love and appreciate what Trump has done for America. I think is an
If I was going to get a Trump tattoo on my forehead, I would have it in reverse so it would spell Trump when I'm looking in the mirror. Because when she looks in the mirror, it doesn't look as good, I'm sure. But no, it's real. It says Trump girl. Unbelievable. Putin launches drills of Russia's nuclear forces featuring retaliatory strikes. The reason I bookmarked that one is that this movie Canary Black, the #1 movie right now on Amazon, has a bad guy who looks exactly like Putin, sounds like Putin, and he releases a digital nuke. And so the digital nuke, in many ways, is just another way of saying mind virus. Tell me this doesn't look like Vladimir Putin. This is the bad guy with the digital nuke in Canary Black. #1 movie. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Was Vincent Fuchsia there? Oh, you mean JFK Jr. in a costume that looks like an aged John Denver, going by Vincent Fuchsia? Yeah, I didn't think... I don't know. I don't know if he was there. I didn't see him. Unbelievable that people fell for that. How many JFK Juniors were there? You had Vincent Fuchsia, -48, 107, Professor Clemens. Some believe he's a time-traveling author, Ingersoll Lockwood, or he's JFK Jr., or both. Then there's this other one called Edward X. So there are 5 individuals right now who are scooping up all the JFK Jr. groupies, living it up like rock stars. And the least believable of all the JFK Jr. fakers is Vincent Fuchsia. Oh, Axel Vase. Oh, Axel Vase is the worst. I hate his selfies. And I don't hate, like I'm not a hateful person, but Axel Vase, this individual is a huge Q pusher. And he takes these selfies where he's always doing like a close-up of his eyes and his beard. You can see his breakfast in his beard. And I don't know why he's obsessed with taking selfies. And along with these selfies, he posts these ominous, like nonsensical messages like, trust the plan, and look in my eyes. You see, I'm JFK Jr. Yeah, he's one of them. Terrible. Culty Talk says, how do you know the tattoo is real? Because you saw it on TV. Well, the tattoo's real. The question is it permanent? Or is it one of those fake tattoos that rubs off? Because she has a video of it. I think it's fake, like a PR stunt. I don't think she really ruined her forehead. But there's plenty of footage to corroborate the claim that she's got, that Trump girl has the tattoo. So there has been a sufficient burden of proof when it comes to Trump girl getting the awful tattoo. But is it permanent? That remains to be seen. Here's the cover art for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Obviously, it's got predictive programming value. What it means, I don't know yet. What do you think? Marcel says, I don't know these people you're talking about. It's because you're not deep in the Q cult. Like, you should be thankful. Be happy. Be happy that you don't know all the JFK Jr. impersonators. I guess we could include Marcus Goldfinch. Marcus Goldfinch is a big-time JFK Jr. faker. He resurrected George News. And Eugene Ho pretends... Oh, okay, I forgot. Pillow Guy. Pillow Guy. Mike Lindell is also believed to be JFK Jr. in a mask. And then Jesse Waters. Q had this thing, this Q drop that said, watch the water. And they took it to mean, watch Jesse Waters on Fox. So many think that Jesse Waters is JFK Jr., which is strange because Jesse Waters is like 45 years old. And JFK Jr. is like 60-something. So that's problematic. But time travel, med beds. Anytime you hit a wall with a Q, Anon high on the Kool-Aid, or drinking the Kool-Aid, high on the Q pipes, and you hit them with logic, they'll say, oh, well, time travel, med beds. Like, how does JFK, at 110 years old, lug around this big old Trump suit, med beds, reversed his age? Deprogram says, that's the crap rattling around in your head. No, I'm just very studied on the subject. I've been studying the emergence of Q since before it was Q. Back when some of the early Q proponents were trying to sell me on this stuff. They said, you know, you need to stop talking about conspiracies because they're very negative. Why don't you talk about prospiracies? I'm like, what's that? The good guys are working for us, the white hats. And one of them even told me, he said, you don't even need a YouTube channel. You shouldn't talk about this stuff because the white hats are going to save us. It was really a strange campaign at one point to try to take the auto hoax Discord server and turn us into Q followers. And when I said no, when I said Q is anonymous and it's probably Hillary Clinton, half the Discord server left. They said that by not joining Q, we were not helping to manifest the Great Awakening. Jessica Lynn says, I didn't know what Q was and people started accusing me of being it. Then I got curious. I distrusted it from the very beginning because, and my standard was this, is Q calling these events out as fake? And no, it was Vegas. The Vegas shooting was the point where people had to make their choice. Either you call it out like it is, it's fake, or you say, Q said this was a deep state operation to make Trump look bad. And that's where they went. They wanted to follow Trump. And I said, Trump is dog whistling the conspiracy demographics with this Q nonsense. It's a psyop. And when I said it was a psyop, a lot of them said, basically, they were mad because I was calling them out on their hopium. Well, here we are, years later, and I would say we have been vindicated. The QAnoners aren't so proud. They're not showing it off. They're not running around trying to spread it anymore because they're a bit more subdued. But the basic story of the Q movement is a retelling of blood libel. It's not even original. And none of it's original. That's another thing. It's all just recycled. Here's Trump, Biff Tannen, New York Post. Choice is clear. Put the nation on the right path. Back to the future. Ryler05 says, I've heard people tell me Chinese are from Mars, and so are the Native Americans. It's funny how it's always another race. I've never heard that, but I have come across ideas. I mean, in science fiction, it's not uncommon to suggest that Earth is not our first home. In fact, there was this astronaut who was on 60 Minutes who said that an asteroid hit Mars when it had an Earth-like atmosphere and ruined it. And a lot of the biomatter went out into space and through the mechanism of panspermia rained down on Earth, making us all Martians. And I remember watching this. It was 60 Minutes. And then they cut to a commercial for some TV shows, a 13-episode series about the end of the world in 6 months because a planet-killing asteroid's on the way. My third eye says, most people have no idea there is a Q thing. I would disagree. Anybody who knows of Trump knows of Q. But most people aren't totally ideological. A lot of people are just kind of loyal based on what they were born into. But no, I think it's pretty well known. Anybody who knows of MAGA would have to know of Q. They may not know all the nuance. And the thing of it is, the fringe has the right story. The rest of the people just kind of ignore the details. But you can't ignore the fringe, the ones who believe what the cult actually believes, the true believers. John Francis says, Trump fans lose it more than lefties these days. It's a cult mindset. Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up. You know, who's crazier? I think they're equally. I think it's like the political horseshoe theory has been implemented. It's a model. And the idea is that the horseshoe never meets in the middle like a circle, but at its ends they resemble one another. And tell me there's a difference between a Proud Boy and a Soy Boy, between Antifa and Patriot Front. Same uniforms. Same puppet masters, same script writers. Okay, well, something to look forward to tomorrow. I'll get the footage up. You'll get to see what happens when we try to communicate to people in the box. And my intention, as you'll see, was not to change minds, because I know that's futile, but to just make some points, to illustrate a couple of things. I think truthers for a long time, they have been misled into thinking that their objective should be to wake people up. And they're obviously in no condition to do so. But moreover, proselytizing when they haven't even figured out what's really going on. And if anybody has a grasp on what the conspiracy really is, it's the media skeptics who focus on media skepticism, on media fakery. And media fakery is the big secret. You know, it's not about body counts. It's not about which religion or ethnic group runs the world or any of that crap. That's all fake. It's ultimately about media fakery and how intrinsic this is to the fake news, which becomes, of course, our fake history, and how this is monolithic. It's global, and it is a new monotheism. That is what it constitutes. That the masses are in a religious paradigm. I call it nasotology, doctrines of scientism, God constructs. You got war gods that don't exist, like the mushroom cloud. You got the flood god, Gaia. You've got the new concept of heaven, which they call space, that all of the other competing heavens of all the different religions, they're all compatible with it. You can be a Muslim, Christian, Jew, or an atheist, and you believe in outer space. So it's a unifying religious paradigm. Leo Pirate says, the connection between predictive programming and faked events is a dangerous connection. Yeah, the erroneous conclusion that has been reached for decades is that predictive programming leads to or foreshadows real things. Not true. Never true. If it foreshadowed real things, it would be ominous. And this is why a lot of misled truthers will say, well, the bad guys need to tell us what they're doing before they do it because it's so bad. That if they tell us, then we subconsciously consent and they don't get any bad karma. Like, that's a mouthful of garbage. And it's just not true. Predictive programming precedes fake events because the predictive programming is fiction and the events they foreshadow are fiction. And they are supplanting or replacing real reportage on occasion with complete fakery. But to help sell the fakery, to give us the visuals we will need to imagine it properly, they use entertainment. And the entertainment entrains us to future news. It is deliberately synchronized. Predictive programming exists. It's prevalent. It's the standard operating procedure. In general terms, basic worldview confirmation, but also in specifics when it comes to transformative psyops that are going to be perpetrated later. And you can't say the demiurge or God or AI does it, because a higher power, a supernatural entity, the simulation script writer, if it was all sim or some kind of, all these various theories don't explain why a higher power would foreshadow fake events. Synchromysticism or the revelation of the method explanation don't add up if what we're talking about at the end of the day is fake. Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground tonight. We'll continue this conversation tomorrow. And hopefully I'll have all these videos out and uploaded for members. Leo Pirate says, on September 10th, 2001, nobody would take you seriously if you said commercial airlines could take out the New York City buildings. Then they did it on a screen, the same place where they were programmed years before. Even months before, you had the lone nut shooter. Is that what it's called? And it was a X-Files spin-off with a character whose name was an anagram for Lee Harvey Oswald. So you have a JFK assassination connection in this series. But they had it with specifics. They said 110 souls on the plane, and it went over the Twin Towers. Mango Penguin says, I remember questioning Columbine. You know, I have a book over here, Book of Lies by Disinformation, and a couple of others. It's a publishing company that talked about how there were drills in advance at Littleton and something about the feds being involved. So I was exposed a long time ago to the MSM plus second shooter theories. The lone gunman, yeah, that's the one. Gave us the visuals for 9/11. Yeah, that is interesting. Hark says, kind of ironic that Mike Lindell sells pillow for sleep while right-wing MAGAs that support him run around trying to wake people up. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought the pillow man it's like they're being lulled into sleep. They're being put into a dream state. But the thing people miss, that truthers miss, is that there is no separation between the fake news and the entertainment, and that these are not coincidences. It's deliberate. We've been studying this. We've been documenting it. We've been predicting it. And you shouldn't be able to predict what's going to be in the movies and the future news events that will follow. But it's formulaic. It's a formula. It's intrinsic. It is systemic fakery. And we know why they do it. And if you haven't seen Newsbenders, it's a must-watch. But we'll cover all this and more in about 2 weeks. We're going to do Auto Hoax Con number 3. I will get a few other people involved. This next one's going to be much bigger than the last one. And we're getting a lot of positive reviews. A lot of people who are commenting are happy to have new people to listen to and hear different viewpoints. And we've been getting some great and detailed and thorough content from Reverse History when it comes to, as he was in his last video, showing us how long in the past Donald Trump has been with us as a personage. Like they were preparing us. And the fact that he is the most foreshadowed character on the world stage should tell you that it's all an act, including the ear getting shot by an AR-15 that nobody at the event I went to today disputed. They literally laughed at it. And it wasn't like it was funny. You know, it was one of these, it's actually, there's a logical fallacy. I think it's called appeal to laughter, or the horse laugh. The horse laugh. Where, yeah, they just appeal to ridicule by laughing because they don't have any facts. And I don't hold it against them. Again, I'm not trying to wake them up or help them necessarily. I was just demonstrating how memes that go outside of their box just can't be processed. And these are these free speech people. These are free speech absolutists. All right, this is Lucifer Tim, 33rd Degree. Happy Halloween, everyone. Thank you for joining. And thank you for supporting the channel. I think things are going to pick up. It's been a kind of slow these last few months. A few of our projects have been kind of stalled, but I think today we really hit the accelerator, especially now that we have a cinematographer with us who is going to be involved in a number of our future productions and any kind of local events into the future. Very reliable person, had no issue walking 5 miles to the event unexpectedly, and delivered all the content, and I'll be going through that tonight. So this is 33rd Degree. Have a great evening.